Hello friends and welcome to another video lesson from DBOS Talks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. This video is in the playlist called Linux tutorial, and here we'll be learning about the move command, which is typed, or you type it as lowercase mv, which is short for move. So the move command has two uses mainly. So the move command can be used to either move a file or a directory, or also to rename it. Okay. So the syntax for the move command, to put it simply, is something like this. The move command mv followed by the source, which is meaning it could be just the file name or the full path, including the file name, and then the destination, meaning where it is and where you want to move it to, or old name to the new file name. Okay, so those are the just the syntax for the move command. So we are at this directory called exer, which is for exercise. So this is the full path of our current location. Take note of that. And for the first scenario, we'll be doing this. So we'll be moving a file. Give me a second. We'll be moving a file to a different directory using absolute path. So in a previous video, I've talked about relative path and absolute path. If you haven't heard about it or don't know a thing about this, and then I suggest you look for that video of mine in this same playlist, in this same channel. Okay, so you can have an understanding of what it is when I talk about absolute path, relative path. Okay. So in this location, we have a file called mhm. Okay, so let me just okay, so I will just create a new file. I'll call it this. So I created this file for the purpose of this video. It's called new file.txt. Don't be bothered that it's empty because I am simply created it using a touch command. Okay, and so the first scenario again is to move this file to a different directory using absolute path. Okay, so I'll do a move. I can use an auto commit using the tab, and then I will say home dbos. So what is happening here is we have the move command. There's a syntax, and this is the source, and this is the destination. What I mean is this file, I didn't mention a path. That means I'm talking about this file located at the current location, and I want to move it to this location using absolute path. Absolute path is the path which begins at the very root directory. Okay, so I want to move this file, which is currently at the exer directory, to this location. Okay, so I would enter that. Now, there's no error, so that means things could have been successful, but we can verify that so easily. So I will do a verification using the absolute path also, so that will be consistent. Okay, so I used absolute path, which is this. So I also use that to verify if it's there. And then new file, .txt. And indeed, it's there. I know it's been newly moved because I am located at this path, and yet I moved it to this location, /home/dbos. All right. Um, Now that we have verified that, I can also verify that using the wildcard character. So that means here, if you look at my list command, sorry, I'll better use a proper one, list law. Sorry. So I'll just use a proper one. We'll talk about the LL thing in some other video, okay? Don't be confused. For now, I was trying to do a list long. So list, we have talked about it in the previous video. The minus L, the hyphen L is for doing a detailed listing, and the full path of the file. Okay, I am trying to verify if this file indeed exists in this path as an effect of my move command over here. Okay, so when I execute, then it's there. Okay, so that is the move command which I have done using an absolute path. Okay, so the next example I'm gonna be giving you is this: moving a file to a different directory using relative path, not absolute. Okay, so now we are at this location. Okay, so we do uh, 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 just check. Okay, so I am at this location. I'll be moving this, let's say, to because this file is located at this location, /home/dbos. So I want to move this new file to a different location, which is one directory deeper. It's currently located at /home/dbos, and I want to move it to a different location using relative path. So this is relative path because it does not begin with the root directory. In fact, begins uh, with a dot, which refers to the current directory. So I'm telling Linux, I want to move this file from this source to this destination. Destination is current directory /exer folder or directory. Okay, so no errors, but if I do a cd to this folder one level deeper, and then I list that file, then it is there because I did a move using relative path. So again, if you haven't heard about this, I suggest you watch my other video about this, discussing the difference between absolute path and relative path. So relative path, that means I am not using the complete path or directory which starts at the root. Okay, so I move the file to a different location. So if you remember the syntax of move the source and the destination. Okay, in this case, this is just the file name, meaning it's located at the current directory, and I want to move it to this location. This is using relative path. So again, the dot, one of the meanings of Linux, of the dot in Linux is current directory. So I want to move it from this current location, which is Xer folder. Oh, no, no, sorry. From the home dbos, yeah, something like, where's that? It used to be here, and I moved it to Xer directory. Okay, so we have looked at two examples of moving a file. One is using an absolute path, the other is moving to a relative path. Our final example of the move command is something different, renaming a file, which is the other purpose of using a move command. So again, the move is simply typed as mv. So I will okay, uh, Okay, so we're at this location. We can see that the new file .txt is at my current location, which is this. What I'm gonna do is to rename this file. Okay, just clear. Yep. Okay. So I'm gonna rename this file. Again, move source, meaning the current file name. So I'll just, okay, I can do an autocomplete, type a few letters, tab. So this move again is not about moving, but the example is about renaming a file. So this is the original file, and then I will give it a different file. So again, move, but this time it will doing a rename. This is the original file name, and then second parameter is the new name or new file name I want to give it. Okay, so no errors. But what happens is if I now list this file, it shouldn't exist anymore. Okay, it says no such file or directory. Why is that? Because I have now renamed this into this. Okay, so list long. If I want to verify if the renaming really worked, then I will go looking for that file and it's there. Okay, that's because of this command over here, which is indeed a move command, but it is doing something else, not moving, but renaming a file into something else. Source, destination. In this case, old file name, new file name. Okay, so in this video, we have learned about the move command of Linux, which will become one of your tools, if you may, under your belt and within your toolbox, which you can use later on to spruce up and to build Linux bash script. And you will have these little tools which will be handy, useful, and it will make you do things according to your requirement. Okay, in this case, move. It will either do a moving of a file to a different location or a renaming of that file. Thank you for watching and listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.